Hello everyone, welcome to the seventh session of SillyHacks. Now allow me to introduce SillyHacks to you. SillyHacks is a 48-hour long workshop and it is a platform where you can show your creativity and build something truly out of the box. At SillyHacks, we are not looking for any particular solution like any general hackathon. It is an open canvas and you can design whatever you want to, you can hack whatever you want. It has been designed to bring back all the fun there is in a hackathon, right? So if you want to register, there's a link down below. So if you want to register, go there and register. Now, coming to today's session, we have two speakers today. Now, the first speaker is Harsh. Now, Harsh is a Unity student ambassador, I'm sorry, and a Unity trainer at Q in One. He's an intern over there. And talking about Jay, he's an indie game developer who's currently interning in a studio based in Ahmedabad. Now, they have been doing game development since 2 years, but have been playing games all their lives, as they say. Now, let us welcome them.
Hello guys, I'm Jay Patel, indie game developer and a 3D artist too.
Hey guys, I'm Koranne, as Devansh said, Unity Student Ambassador and game developer, of course.
Of course. And today we are going
All
to
right,
discuss
we
about.
are happy to have you, and let's get started with the session.
Okay, thank you. So today we are going to discuss about gaming industry and where is it going at now and how you can start with your game dev journey.
Before we move on, we just want to point out that you can find our professional Instagram pages at these two accounts. This is where we post all our game development and such work. We also have the personal pages as well, but these are more for the things that we create and develop.
Yeah.
Okay, let's begin the session.
Okay.
How to get started with game dev?
Game dev. You can start with anything. Like there are many game engines and many languages are there to learn. But what I suggest, like start with the right direction. Start with the what you want to do in games. Like there are many fields in game development itself. Like it's a programming side or a sound design artist or a technical artist, which I want to do. Yeah.
And also, not really leaving those things aside, but there are things that you need as a game developer which do not involve programming or art or sound design. One example that I can give you is it's a really good idea to learn a software such as Photoshop. because that will allow you to create 2D elements, which are very useful not only for 2D games, but you want to design main menus as well when it comes to 3D games as well, right? So Photoshop will actually allow you to create those 2D games. Now, of course, since Photoshop is a paid software, it has its alternative open source softwares as well, which you may be interested in, something like GIMP or no, it's GIMP or GIMP, whichever way you choose to pronounce it. So that's a really good idea. And if you really want to focus on 3D stuff, then you might want to learn something like Blender, which is a great open source software for anything to do with 3D.
And whatever it is, like if you are doing a programming or a 3D thing, there is also sub part or sub fields in there. Like programming, we have UI programming, network side programming, physics game engine programming, and gameplay programming. So and 3D side as well, you have not only a 3D models or UI elements. Like 3D side, you have concept artist, effects artist, animator, and animator is the highest demand in currently right now in the current situation. So and how and how you can figure out what is the best thing for you, is the one answer is start making games and start with the simple.
Yes, that is absolutely true. One thing that I have seen people, even in fact, not only people, we were also like that. At the beginning, everyone thinks that we'll start making, the next GTA or the next Assassin's Creed. It's good to dream of those things, but you should also keep in mind that those are AAA titles. That means they have huge budgets, they have a good amount of funding, and most importantly, they have large teams of developers and artists. So a whole lot of thing goes inside a very big game. So like Jay said, you should start with something small. And then eventually, the more you work inside this field, you will start understanding the elements of things and you will figure out what you like more.
Of course, of course. And we are today specifically talking about programming languages, like which are the languages is used in game industry and which are the languages are used by the game engines. So there are basically two most favorite, what you can say, language programming language in the industry is one is C sharp and the C++, and the both have their different advantages and disadvantages, but yeah, they are the most usable languages, you can say.
Now, expanding upon that, C Sharp is used inside the Unity game engine, and C++ is used inside Unreal game engine. But also, there are many, many other game engines as well. But before we talk about the different types of game engines, you may ask yourself, or you may find asking yourself, what really is a game engine? Game development, you have to do it. It's inside an engine. Okay, it's like a platform which provides you with the programming tools that you require and the 3D tools that you require. So it sort of marries the two concepts together. And most game engines have their own compilers and their own 3D stuff.
Yeah, like some of the example of game engines are Unity, Unreal, Construct 3D, Godot, CryEngine, and also visual scriptings. Only supported visual scripting gaming engine is Buildbox, where you don't need to hardcore anything, and of course you choose accordingly to your job, like what is the demand in industry. Like indie game studios, what are the game engines our indie game studios are using, but that's not mean that the same game engine is used in the Rockstar game studio or Ubisoft gaming studio. Like they have their different game engines, and obviously they train you, but like these are the not game engines they are using it right now.
And then you may ask yourself that, okay, but I want to work in Rockstar or I want to work for, Ubisoft. So if I learn something like Unity or Unreal, how am I going to do over there? Well, the thing is, the concepts are the same. No matter what game engine or 3D software you choose, see, physics will always be physics, gravity will
Yeah.
always be gravity, right? What changes is only the names and sometimes the approach of doing things and the syntax. So that's the only thing that changes. Once you understand the basics of one game engine, it is really easy to migrate into another game engine.
Of course. And you may ask like what game engine I should start with. So like you can literally start with anything that runs in your PC. That's the important. And
Yeah.
like and the one quote from the FF7, like it's not the driver who wins the race, it's the sorry, it's not the car who wins the race, it's the driver who wins the race. The only thing matters is who's behind the wheels. So you can just start with anything and develop your skills in game.
Trust us when we say that you can use literally any game engine that you can get your hands on, but you
Yeah,
will only be limited by your imagination and your creativity. That is the
of
only
course.
limitation that we have. If you can think it, you can make it, you can program it.
From the my experience in the industry and what I looking in the industry, like Unity is for mostly right now is the hyper casual games. Like most hyper casual gaming studio are using Unity. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that Unity can handle a big environment or big AAA title quality games, but they are you hyper making hyper casual games in Unity is very easy. And for Unreal is most kind of FPS games and used in a large environment for 3D environment game.
So, if you have not checked it out yet, what I would suggest you guys do right after this session is you log on to YouTube and you can just type in Unreal Engine 5 demo and just take a look at the video which is there. It's put out by Epic Games, which are the developers and owners of Unreal Engine. And just look at that, watch that demo. It's not a long video, fairly short video, and you will see the real strengths of Unreal Engine.
Yeah, but if you don't your PCs can't handle, yeah, you can
Yes.
go with the simplest Godot engine, which I saw the requirements for Godot. It can run on Intel Core Studio processor also. So that's
So a while ago, Jay mentioned this visual scripting thing. Would you please tell us a little more about visual scripting?
visual scripting is about like not program it's for not programmers, it's made for an artist like who want to make a games and they only know a 3D stuff, how to make models, how to make environments, or you can say it's for the beginners who don't are comfortable with the programming side. So what they can do, there's also blueprints or templates, you can say visual scripting. You just need to a node based system like drag and drop and connect some dots to make games.
Yes. So Unreal Engine has always had this visual scripting concept. Unity, Unity's visual scripting was under beta testing up to a while ago, but a few weeks ago they have put it out. And every
Yeah,
plan, doesn't matter free or paid, you get the visual scripting tools if you need them. But of course, there is no compulsion. If you are a hardcore programmer and binary code runs in your veins instead of blood, you can also dig into the code and do things that you want to do. Also, one advantage that I would like to point out here is using something like Unity and Unreal doesn't necessarily limit you to games.
yeah,
These these platforms have been used not only to make games, but movies and TV shows as well. So one really, really famous example that I can give you right now is if you're a Star Wars fan, the current TV show of Star Wars, The Mandalorian, was made with Unreal Engine.
yes. And there are many ads which are shot or made in this game engines. If you know that BMW comes with the concept in Unity to show their new
Yes.
car in Unity, and they are all rendered in Unity real-time rendering engine.
BMW actually partners with the developers of Unity and the developers at NVIDIA to showcase their new models inside Unity Engine using ray tracing technology from NVIDIA's GPUs.
Yes.
So it doesn't. So I know you might think that we keep repeating ourselves, but it's a very really important point. It doesn't really matter which game engine you choose, as long as it runs in your system. That's the one main prerequisite.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also the thing is, all of these game engines have great documentation, they have great user support, they have great communities. You can find dozens and dozens of YouTube channels and Discord servers and articles and forums and whatnot dedicated to each game engine. And on top of that, the companies, so that's Unity, which made Unity Game Engine, and Epic Games, which made Unreal Game Engine, they have free tutorials on their website as well to help you get started, no matter what field you're in.
Yeah, of course. And while learning, just keep one thing in your mind, like train yourself as a understanding of basic game mechanics, not like a learning gaming, a game engine software or gaming programming. Try to learn game mechanics, problem solving skills, and how games are working and how games physics or things working in games.
The one advantage that we game developers have is that it doesn't matter which side you're on, whether it's the 3D artist, I mean, whether it's the artist side or programming side. If in the future someday you get bored of game development, and if you're an artist, you can switch over from game development into movies, because as you know, more and more movies need a lot of these things. I'm sure we've all watched movies like Avengers Endgame, right?
Yeah,
It heavily relied on VFX and 3D stuff.
3D stuff,
And
yes.
coming to programming, if you're a game programmer and you get tired of game development, then you can easily migrate over to the tech industry. So you can apply for jobs at Google or whichever company that you want to. So you're not really limited,
Yeah.
because it may happen. It's very natural that people may feel like choosing a different career down their path.
Specifically in India is a problem, is a salary
Yes.
problem, of course.
So these are some of the very popular games that have been made using Unity and Unreal. We're using Unity and Unreal examples because these are the most common and most popular game engines out there.
Of course. And this is talking about Call of Duty. This is made in Unity. It's awarded for the mobile game of the year from BAFTA Games Awards. And he earns this game earns US $327 million at the till June 2020. And talking about Injustice 2 is also a fighting video game based on DC Universe, and he also won a based fighting game award in 2017.
Now, although Injustice 2 is a slightly older game, but it will
Yeah,
still challenge most of your devices that you have. It is very heavy. And if you haven't played these games, we highly recommend that you check them out. You would need some space in your device as well because they're over 1 GB, if I'm not wrong.
1 GB.
Yes. But yes, we highly recommend that you check these games out because they're very beautifully crafted, good worlds, good physics, good everything.
And the game aesthetics of this game are really good, man.
Yes, really good. Talking about the PC side of things, um, I'm not sure if you've checked out either of these games. Raji, you may not have because it hasn't yet been released. But the thing about Raji is it's made in India. and it's a really
Yeah,
big game. Literally, Nintendo is advertising this game on their website.
not
If you
only
don't know, Nintendo
Nintendo.
is the company that made Mario, so it's
Yes.
that big.
Yeah, and not only Nintendo, even Substance 3D company, who is a texture-based company, is also sponsored video ads in Instagram and marketing this game. And talking about Raji, because I love this game a lot, because these games initially started developing in Unity, and they start then after after 2 or 3 months they switch to the Unreal and start making games. Yeah, the most funny part is like become this is the game which becomes the Indian indie title on the console Nintendo Switch, and this is the first indie game.
Um, Talking about Substance, what my friend just said, if you don't know, Substance is a company owned by Adobe, the same company which makes software such as Photoshop and Premiere Pro and After Effects. So, industry standard softwares. That is a company which is sponsoring and marketing and advertising for Raji. So, you can begin to understand the level of the game.
Yes,
And
and
yes, of course,
I highly recommend the you watch the IGDC talk of their game developers, and you can find some interesting things about game development side. So it's there on a YouTube. So you just search Raji IGDC video.
taking a side note on that point, if you listen to podcasts, Unity has a really great podcast. And
Mm.
if you listen to that, they usually interview game developers, indie game developers, and big game developers as well. So they're usually 30 to 40 minutes in length. You can find them on anywhere you listen to podcasts. So that's Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever it is. But we highly recommend that you listen to those. Even if you're not a game developer, or even if you're not a pro, if even if you're interested in gaming a little bit, you will gain something from those podcasts.
Of course. And Harsh, you played Super Hot, right? Like I didn't play that, but if you can tell us about the gameplay of Super Hot. I think Harsh get disconnected. Uh,
Okay, so I guess Harsh's net has some issues.
yeah,
Okay, there's never mind. So
we can take any questions if
okay,
chaps have.
yeah. Actually, we do have a question. So
Sorry, I had some Wi-Fi issues.
sure,
No problem. No
great.
problem.
I have a very great Wi-Fi.
It's great that you are back.
Yeah.
So yes, not to forget Super Hot. Now, if you haven't played Super Hot, we recommend that you watch the videos at least. And if not that, you can buy it. It's a really cheap game. The concept that they have is the time moves when you move. If you don't press any keys on your controller or keyboard, everything will be frozen. The moment you start pressing the keys, that's when time will move again. So the concept is really cool. And I have never seen anything like this ever.
Yes.
And it's a relatively cheap game. The one good thing that they did was if you had purchased the first part of this game, you get the second part for free. And for some yeah, for some reason, if you weren't able to purchase the first part, the second part only costs about 60 or 70 rupees on Steam at the time that I purchased it. So it's relatively inexpensive. Amazing concept.
Of course. This is the like talking about the that game, I want to add one point that if you play this game, like I didn't play that, but I saw the video, and you can realize that how you can achieve what you can achieve with the minimal assets or minimal 3D things. It's a very less game mechanics, but it's at the same time it's a very compelling.
And it has a good story too. You don't
Yeah,
also
it's a
need
story,
an
but
you don't need an over the top overkill system to run this game.
of course,
Now, talking about the console side of things, I'm sure we've all seen Beat Saber and Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order.
yeah,
Really big games. Beat Saber has been there for a while now, but the Star Wars game was released just a few weeks ago, if I'm not wrong.
yes,
So I think you'll begin to understand how, like we said a few slides ago, it doesn't really matter which game engine you choose. Both Unity and Unreal support mobile games, PC games, and console games.
yes,
Beat Saber is in fact a VR game,
of course,
and this game is based. The Star Wars game is based obviously on the Star Wars universe. And for all of you
yeah,
Star Wars fans out there, and if you haven't checked out this game is based right after the third episode and before the fourth episode.
yeah.
So it's after the Clone Wars.
Beat,
That's where the story lies.
like Beat Saber is one of those games like it's easy to play, but very hard to master it. You can say.
Yes. No, I think one thing that we probably didn't notice when we were making this, Jay, both these games have lightsabers in them.
Yeah,
Yeah. You can play with lightsabers in both these games.
like it's the key element on the PS4.
Yeah. So again, all the games that we mentioned, if you haven't checked them out or if you haven't gotten a chance to check them out, please play them. If for some reason you don't have devices which can support these games, you can go over to YouTube and watch their gameplays. Or if you want, you can also watch the interviews made by the developers. You'll gain some good insights on those things. That is actually one of the best things that you can do. If you ever like a game very much, what you can do is you can try to find some interviews or some making video of that game.
Yeah,
For example, when I was playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, have you played that, Jay?
no, I haven't played that.
Okay. In Black Flag, what the storyline is based in the 1700s, so that's the 18th century, and they've based it around pirates. Now, obviously, I thought that it's all fiction and all, but then when I did my research and I watched the cast interviews and developer interviews, I learned that they actually did their research. They read the history books, they spoke with experts, and they have
Oh,
not the exact truth, but it is very much based on realism. They have real pirates in there in the game, which really scared the living hell out of people back at those days. One of those famous pirates that they have put in is Blackbeard. You may or may not have heard of Blackbeard because he probably is the most famous pirate in human history. And why he's also famous is because he looked terrifying. What he did was he had a very big beard, and he used to have one of those classic Captain Jack Sparrow pirate hats. But then he put smoking paper out of those coming out of the hats. So the paper was burning, and the coils of paper were surrounding his hat, and he would
I guess which is
One more question.
I think again he has internet issue.
I can hear you.
You can hear me, but your video is still
Yes, I
lagging.
can hear you.
stories today. Okay, so Arpan, do we have any questions? So we can address a couple of questions by the time Harsh comes back.
Okay, sure.
So we have
What are
a
your
question.
thoughts?
I'm sorry.
Okay. What are your thoughts on open world games like Witcher, RDD, Ghost of Thrones are not to forget RDR2's engine and AI is awesome. How do they achieve that? Okay. So, for it, to achieving that level of quality games, like you need a big team. And talking about Witcher, that they don't have the big team, but the team members are itself a very senior developers, and they made the games in very quick time. So, and talking about AI is a very different topic it in itself in game development. So you need the senior AI teams all for that also. Like talking about GTA, if you know the GTA 3, it's not uh, specifically made for open world. It's a racing game like Need for Speed. But when they develop and they test the game, then they figure it out that the chasing cops car mechanics AI is very good. Then they develop a different concept and make a GTA 3 from that. So like AI is part of the game development. How do they achieve that? That's all. Anything, Harsh, you want to add in that?
One cool thing that I read about AI when I was doing some research was, until now we don't have a formal definition of what AI is,
Yes, we don't have.
and all the movies and TV shows that you see, they're probably lying to you. But yeah, we don't have a formal definition of it. Keeps changing every few years,
Of course.
so you can dig into that if you want.
Yeah. And game AI is not that is the main AI that using the different live products. These are some different AI in games, like not the same as you use in the real world, right?
Yeah. If you are only interested in AI, like only AI and not the gaming side of things, then maybe it's a good idea for you to, get started with AI first before you come and see how things are done here.
Yes.
But that's only if you're like I know a few people who are very much interested in AI, but not really games. But they want to learn how AI works in games.
Yeah, of course. So
How did we get started?
it's for me it's a very short story. Like first, I talk about how I get interest in games. Like when I was in third grade, we used to have a generic gaming console at our house, and really like to play a Contra in it, like with my brother, because it's a first multiplayer game for us, a Contra, and the same year we got a PC, and then I get interested in PC games and all. But after taking admission in computer science, I take in actually interest in making games, and after and having a good knowledge about programming because I have a great background of computer science, I started learning programming languages in and OOP concepts. But I was very much interested in 3D. So I start in with the 3D software Blender because I really like how games environments looks, how game character moves, and how good you can do in games. as a visually, and I know that I want to do a programming part also. So because, and at that time I didn't know the, is there any field that can field in game development that that programmer and 3D artist can work together, or like one job person, one person who can do the both thing, like 3D side and programming side. And I figured it out. I search on online, and I search, uh, I found that the technical art is the most closest thing that I want to do in my life. So because technical is a person who is the bridge the gap between 3D artist and a programming, so that they know the both side of the part and they actually help the team to how to like integrate the scripts and 3D software together. Like, yeah, and they also, there is a technical artist. My favorite is, I don't really like, but they he is an Ubisoft. So yeah, that is my interest.
Uh, with me, the thing is, you see these glasses that I wear. You really have to work hard. You really have to work hard to get these glasses. Now, you
Yeah.
might ask me, how? What did you do? Which hard work did you do? To that, I say I played GTA San Andreas whole afternoon, every every vacation, every holiday. I had a PS2 back in the old days when PS2 was the the thing, because I think it's,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong, it's the most popular console ever sold, the PlayStation 2. So I had one of those, and every vacation days, holidays, I used to play games like San Andreas and FIFA and WWE. That's how I got my glasses. And that's also how I got interested in gaming and game development. But then it
Carrying that
started.
hurt.
Huh? Yes.
I still have it. I have to.
Yeah, he also has glasses. And then, like I'd always known that I want to be a game developer. I was interested and curious when I used to play those games. I used to think, how did they make this? Obviously, I didn't have the answers back then. But then I figured out as I grew up older and older, which is why I took admission in CSE, mainly to become a game developer. But then when I took admission, a few things happened. I started going astray. Then I started, like, no shame in saying it, but I started losing some friendships. Really tough year for me. And I really had no idea how to proceed. And then I suddenly remembered that the only reason I'm here, or the only reason that I took admission in CSE, was to become a game developer. So I said, okay, why not give it a shot? Let's see what happens if it doesn't work, but why not give it a shot? So I went to Google, I searched game development courses, and I started doing the first one that I saw. And the rest is history. But
Yeah.
after that, I finished the course, I made a few games, became a student ambassador of Unity. So, yeah, a few things may happen in life which, after which you may think or you may not know how to proceed. But I would suggest that you only need to change your perspective. I used to be very bad at programming, and is a real witness. I couldn't even write my own programs, even the most basic ones, when I started with game development. So this has really given me a good focus and a good perspective of how things are done.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we can't promise that the same may happen to you because everyone has different lives. But yes, we can certainly say that game development gave a focus and a perspective to our lives. And that's what we try to do. We try to bring that focus and perspective to other people's lives. That's why we have been hosting webinars and workshops, although
Yeah.
that had to be stopped because of the pandemic. But Nothing that we can do about that.
Of
So
course.
some of our
What?
work, let's see, we have short videos, nothing big, 1 minute videos, and there's only background music. This is a lighting setup that I did a few days ago in Unity. So you can see the lights and the poles, volumetric fog, post processing. That is something really important if you want to become a lighting artist.
Yes.
Interesting fact, post processing is also heavily used in video editing. So if you are a good video editor, you may find designing lighting scenes in Unity or Unreal very interesting because the concepts are the same. And I know this because I because I make videos in Premiere Pro as well. So I can tell you that things like color correction and adding bloom and all those things, really, it's the same thing. This is a game that Jay has developed.
It's still not published yet. I'm still working
That's
on
okay.
this. Yeah. It's a simple 2D game, platformer game. Nothing hard in it.
But how long did it take you?
It take like it's you can say because I didn't give full time my full time in this game. So like, but I'm developing this games like a month ago. Started this developing a month ago, and all of that like UI and everything is made by me. But the game character and the platform is just I download for free from the internet. Yeah.
This is a project that I made in machine learning. So for the person who asked the AI question, this is one application of that.
Yes.
I've called my bird Freddie because I'm a big fan of Freddie Mercury from Queen. Really cool concept. Okay, this is a video made by Jay. Not only video, but the game as well.
Also, also game. In this game, all of the assets are made by me in Blender, and also I have done coding for the airplane as well. And this is
Jay,
the game
between
is very closest to my heart because this is the game that I made for myself, not for the anyone else. Like I'm making these games because I can play something at my free time. So I and at the time of developing, I changed the environments and game design documents almost 10 to 15 times because I just don't like that, and I just change in just to after second or third day, and I'm still developing it. It's not completed yet.
you realize one thing, Jay,
What?
we use the same skybox, man. I had this.
It's a free one, man.
Yeah, it's a free one, and I really love this one.
Yeah.
By skybox, we mean the sky that you see,
Like
the clouds.
if you remember, you actually give me reference of this skybox.
Oh,
Like
really?
before I'm using the like blue color something skybox, and you I said try something this type of wallpaper.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
interesting.
a
I
it's a while ago, but still.
I don't remember. So what's going on in the games industry right now?
A lot.
Yes, literally a lot.
A lot.
If you think that it's not really going anywhere or it's not worth it, just look at the numbers. There has been a 40% increase in games and game sales just in this course of the pandemic. 40%.
Yeah.
While most of the other industries are, going down, the games
Going
industry
up,
is coming up.
being up. Because there's a time of digital era and everybody wants
Yes.
to play games in their free times and or after work. But talking about that, the number 40% increase in the game sales or game playing is the most of the now games are popular from this, not an indie games like industry is growing by the popular game and gaming studio, not the indie games developers or indie game solo developers or studio. Like they don't have any new work. Like most of the what's the problem in indie game developer studio is like the most of the clients are the individual person or some big studio outsourcing the work from the small industry and that. So what happens is like client has no money because of pandemic, so they don't give orders to indie games dev studio, and indie game studio has to pay all of their uh, what you can say staff, programmers or other team members a full payment, and they are working with the 50% members. So yes, there is some problem in indie game studio right now, especially in India, but like the big studios are earning a very good money.
Yes. Because generally, most people, I mean, you'll hear of people playing games like, Super Hot, or, I mean, we ourselves, we showed most of the AAA titles because these are some of the most popular games.
Of course.
And because of that, they were made by big studios.
Of course.
But yes, there is things are changing because now ray tracing is started coming into the picture, and the costs of the ray tracing hardware is also started to go down, and that's why the number of content which is created using ray tracing is increasing.
Okay, and for the Indian game developers or gaming studio is a very good time to start your game dev journey, because like if you have heard the last Prime Minister Modi's Man Ki Baat, they're talking about growing the digital games in India and encouragement, giving encouragement to the Indian gaming studios. And I have read some news in the Business Times. I don't know it is true or not because it has some question mark at the last of the sentence, and it says like by the 2029, gaming sector or digital gaming sector is in the top 10 uh, list of the funding in the for the industrial aspect in the India. So is it a very good news? But I'm not sure because it has some question mark at the time, and also it has to have Modi ji till 2029.
The thing that we would suggest really is, um, if you really want to become a game developer, then stop looking at the trends, stop looking at
Of
the
course,
numbers,
of
because
course.
those don't really matter. You should do what you want to do. Because yes, there are some people that, oh, now the game industry is booming, that means I should become a game developer. But then after 2 or 3 years of doing that, then they see some other industry booming, and then they'll be like, oh, maybe I should go over there.
Yeah,
And that's not
game
really doing
development
any good.
game development is like not everybody can do, because like it is fun of developing games, your own games, but it's a hard fun. You will get frustrated after 1 month or 2 months of your own game. So there are lots of errors and bugs are in the developing side. So it's a hard fun. Like not everybody can do. So if you are passionate about really passionate about that, so then you can go.
And that level of frustration can sometimes go up to the point where you feel like throwing away your laptop. So you have to be, obviously very careful and keep your anger controlled. But if you're really passionate about games, then I'm sure that you will be passionate about game development. And you will also start understanding many, many things that go on into games.
Of course.
One other thing that we would recommend, or that we usually do, is when we like a certain game, we watch the reviews as well. So if you watch game reviews, you will understand new things. I'm sure every game review that you watch, you will come to know some new thing that you did not know. And that is something which is very common.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's time for some Q&A,
Yes. So,
interactive session.
Devansh, your voice is not coming.
What about the Godot engine?
What about the okay? Like it's a not featured with the like it has not so many features, but it can really good option for you to start your game dev journey because it can almost run in any computer. So yeah, it's a good you can start. But starting game development is not the problem, but learning the mechanics is a very important part. Like
Anyone
anybody
can
can just
start.
yeah anyone
Yeah.
can just see the 5 4 tutorials and then he or she can make a Flappy Bird type of game or a roll a ball type game. It won't be an issue nowadays.
The thing is that you
There
got
are
to stick with it.
yeah, stick with it. It's the most difficult part.
I don't know. Am I audible now? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are
Okay.
audible now.
Can you tell us about the opportunities college provide about this gaming or programming in abroad?
That
Okay,
is it's a very
that is very
this,
wide
this is
question.
this is something that we are looking for, gaming or programming in abroad or learning or colleges also.
The
Yeah.
And
thing
So
is,
yeah,
um, the thing is, Japan is one of the world's largest markets when it comes to games and game development. But the only problem Japan has is that you need to learn Japanese. If you've
yes,
ever seen pictures of Japanese cities, even the signboards that they have on their streets are all in Japanese. And even though the Japanese people know English very well, they still choose to stick with their own language.
yes,
So that's one drawback about Japan, but really, it is one of the biggest gaming markets. You want proof? Here's the proof. Sony, which makes PlayStation, is a Japanese company. Nintendo, which makes Mario and is promoting, Raji and all
Raji,
those
yes.
good games, that is a Japanese company. Sega,
All,
one of the company which brought one of the first gaming consoles ever. Sega, that's a Japanese company.
yeah.
But yes, that's the only drawback about Japan.
The same problem with the France. Like we have listed one college called Artifacts. It's the same
Yes,
problem.
you need to learn French. But otherwise, USA and Canada, that's North America. That's fairly good because most of the games that we play, not only by we, I don't mean Jay and I, but all of us, they originate from North America. Things like GTA or Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, these are all made by American or Canadian studios.
And in the gaming industry, like you really don't need any college. If you work hard and stick with your goals, then it's good to go, man.
Yeah, we have heard of people without college degrees getting jobs at Rockstar and Ubisoft based entirely on what they have done, their experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, it only thing
So,
matter is your portfolio. Yeah.
But yes,
uh,
we do not suggest that you drop out of college right away. Okay, don't do that. We are not endorsing that. But yeah, it can happen. Study about this. The closest is computer science engineering. The closest.
Closest.
Why I say this is
Because
because you will have programming related subjects which will help you with programming. You will have operating system related subjects which will help you understand the requirements of things like Windows and Android and iOS. You will have hardware related subjects which will help you understand the different types of platforms and architectures that are there. For example, if you've worked in Android apps or Android games, you know we have the X64 and the X7. That's the ARM7 processors, architectures. So we need to work towards that, right? Apps made for ARM7 will not work on X64 and vice
yes,
versa. Something that you really have to take care of when you're developing for Android, especially
even
the Play
networking.
console.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, what you're saying first?
I was saying it's something that you really have to take care of, especially if you're working with the Play console, because that is something that I personally find extremely annoying. Doesn't matter if you're publishing games or apps. I just don't like Play console.
And you also get very good knowledge about networking, AI, and ML. These are the subjects
Yes.
are all present in computer science as well.
I also have the same question for India. How worthy is it? How worthy is
Yeah.
it?
Okay.
If you think it's worthy, then it is worthy. If you are
like,
extremely passionate and
I
interested
guess, are there any degrees available for game development in India?
in
Uh,
India,
Not that I am aware.
yeah,
Like
it's a
most
little
of the
difficult.
studios or the coachings are teaching a game designing, which is not a game development side.
Okay.
So that like there are I don't know I should say the name, but there are they claim to teach you game development, but the if you look the softwares and the all program, there is no part of game development or programming side. There's only teaching you a 3D type of work.
Okay. I mean, India needs to come up with good degrees when it comes to game development, right? So,
Of course.
Yes.
But in the other hand, the degrees doesn't matter in this field. So
Yeah. And the
actually,
problem the problem is because this field is very new. If you think about something like computer science, that has been there for 50 something years. If you think
Mhm.
about something like physics or biology, that has been there for hundreds of years. So they are very
Okay.
recognized institutions and aspects. But game development has only been there for what, 20 years, 30 years?
yeah,
Okay.
So it's relatively new. That's why we don't
we
really
should.
have proper institutions, I would say. Not really institutions, but we don't have a proper manner of things.
Yes.
How
Okay.
did you guys start your first breakout into the game industry?
Man, we are still some out of it, you can say. But
Yeah.
like month ago, I get a chance to do internship in a gaming company, which is making a hyper casual games for Android and iOS, and they are really as big. They are take a client work from Reliance Games and Nazara Games, and they have some 48 millions download from total. So it's a big, very good company, and I am doing internship. The most very interesting part or thing is like I'm a game designer and developer too at that company as a post. So like they have they don't have any game designer and developer at the same time. So What a proper PC setup for Blender. Already.
Okay.
Brother, check out once the system requirements on that website.
Yes. But if you have, this is just general, if you have a processor which is not more than 2 years old, that should be totally fine. If you have a dedicated graphics card, that's totally fine. If you have 8 to 16 GB of RAM, or at least 8 GB of RAM in your system, that's again awesome. If you have these three things, then you can easily do most of the things. Obviously, not
Yes.
everything, but most of the things you will be able to do. But yes, you should check out the actual tech specs of these software that you want to learn.
I'm more
Do these
interested.
degrees hold any value?
No, degree doesn't matter. They don't have any. As much as your portfolio speaks, your degree is not. No one is going to look. Yeah.
Yes.
If you are a PhD person, that doesn't matter. Of course, you are PhD in AI. That something is good, but for game development is not looking.
Okay, so I personally have some questions. So, are there any are there any student programs? Like, for example, Harsh, you are a Unity student ambassador, right? So, are there
Yes.
any student programs which teach game development for the people who are starting out?
You can always find great courses online.
Mm-hmm.
So Udemy
Okay.
is a good option, but that is paid. But like I said in this presentation, Unity and Unreal both have awesome tutorials and courses on their
Okay.
own website,
Hmm.
starting from beginner level all the way up to the pro level. So it doesn't
Oh,
matter
that's
what level you are. You will find a course on their learning websites.
Yeah, and it's free. So
Yes, completely free. You do not need to
yeah.
pay a penny.
And I want to know, like, for the viewers, like, is there anything something big you are working on and which you plan to publish?
uh, actually,
There's
I
all
was working in that airplane game which I have showed, but even I'm working for the that company is has very big project, but I can just
Right.
show you the video because it's still in under development. So
Okay. What about you, Harsh?
uh, like I want to. So remember that video that I showed you, the lighting setup. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I want to expand upon that, add in some realistic looking water, maybe some scenes.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're also working on our final year project
yeah,
together.
that's
We're
a
in the same team.
big project for us.
Okay.
That would be big. Yes.
We are actually
And
developing
like,
a airplane and racing game which has airplane and cars, and you need to race with opponents which trained by machine learning, and they have neural networks in their brains, so you have to compete with
Yes.
them, and we are
okay,
developing it for our final year project in the college.
So
sounds
that's why we
interesting.
started making these small projects. So, for example,
Okay.
I did the machine learning birds thing, and Jay showed off his airplane video. So, we will be
Mhm.
using concepts from these projects that we have made for ourselves
Right, right.
and then sort of combine all of them together
Yeah.
into a game which will allow you to race with cars as well as planes.
Yes.
Okay. So I have this very basic question. So there's a PC and there's mobile games, right? So what is the core difference? Like, I mean, people, generally try to differentiate. So what is the core difference when it comes to mobile games and when it comes to PC games?
It's
Um,
like processor different, like how your phone can
yes.
handle and what your PC can handle. Like PC have that dedicated GPU, so you can add more realistic graphics in the
All right.
PC, and but you can do with the phone, right?
So,
Okay.
one thing which would really set the differences is if you're working for PC and consoles, you can have 4K images and 4K textures and models in your game. But you
Mhm.
cannot do that for phones. The thing is,
Okay.
if you guys have worked on again, coming back to Android, if you've worked on Android games, then you know that Google Play Console has a limit of 150 MB.
Yes.
Using
Oh,
any 4K texture or image inside your game is going to put that threshold off.
right, right.
Like in the game development for Android, like every line of your code matters. Like
Yeah.
if you are using integer and which is not going like a higher number, so you can use byte. It saves you 4 bytes in a computer memory. So like every line and every variable is mattering for Android game development.
That's nice. So, like, okay,
From where to
we have
study about
one.
Blender?
It's like I learned Blender from mostly from YouTube. I didn't any take any courses from Udemy or something else, but most of the my knowledge is from YouTube, watching different artists and all.
So basically, you will find almost all kinds of tutorials about everything: the physics, the solids, the
Yes, yes,
sculpting and everything, right?
everything,
Also,
everything.
if you guys are familiar with Stack Exchange, Blender has its own version of Stack Exchange.
Yeah.
Stack Exchange is something which is extremely popular with uh, programmers and computer science people.
Hmm.
You can literally find dozens
Okay.
of memes for Stack Exchange.
So I mean,
Even
there's like I
if
don't
you
have
are
any further. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
Can you
sorry.
recommend any channel?
like
For
let's talking
Unity,
about Unity. Hmm.
channel for
Like if
Unity,
you are, yeah, yeah, go ahead, Harsh.
yeah. So let me show you a couple of channels. I'll just share my screen. One is this one called Brackies. Really
It's
great channel
most
for Unity. Very popular. Unity has their own channel. Like they have tutorials as well. So if you go to playlists, you'll see they have many tutorials on their own channel. But yes, Brackies is a good one. Blackthorn Prod, you may want to check this one out as well. And then there is Saiku.
yeah.
Yes. So these are three channels which you can check out. And yes, you want to check out Awesome Truths as well. Although he does not have specific tutorials for game development because he runs a paid academy, but the videos that you'll find here will help you inspire or help you get motivated. So he asks questions like, is game development worth it, or is game development for you? Such questions he answers in his channel.
Of course. Even Harsh has his own channel. You can check it out there.
Yeah, let me show you real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This-
Although I've just been working with programming so far, but I did make this video about breaking down game logic just a day ago. Jay also has his own channel called Render Rush. You'll find Blender tutorials here. Some of his videos have views over 1300 if I'm not wrong.
No, it's 3,000.
Yeah, see,
It's just
this is 1800 and
1,300.
yeah. So you can check out
It's
his
a
channel as well for Blender tutorial. Also, we have our own Instagram pages as well, HK Labs and Render Rush, where we
even
regularly post stuff.
Harsh, like you can introduce a WhatsApp group also.
Yes. So the two of us have also started a WhatsApp group for game developers and artists alike. If you are interested, let us know. We'll send you the link right away.
Yeah. We can
Sure, you
you
can
can
do
talk
that.
to us.
So we can share it on our in our network so that if anyone is interested, we can surely do that.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay, so like to end this session, do you have anything else to say, like your last sentences to the people who are starting out with game development or to someone who's interested in game development?
Yeah.
One thing that I would say is, I know at the beginning we are extremely excited, but now this is coming from Awesome Truths. What he usually says, and I truly believe that it works. Instead of working for 6 or 7 hours on the first day and then doing absolutely nothing at all the rest of the week, why not work for 1 hour every day? That way,
Yeah,
you will stay consistent and the concepts will keep running in your brain. And this goes not
right,
only for
right.
game development, but any field that you are interested in.
Truly
So
said.
yeah.
Okay, so
And
I
one
hope,
one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
to remember, like I said this line again, that it's not about the car. It's about always been about the driver who drives the car, right? So
That's great. So I guess that's all for today. And we were really happy to have you guys. We hope to see you soon again. Yeah,
Thank you guys for
thank you
giving
so
us an
much.
opportunity.
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, so if even if you want to make a silly game in Silly Hacks, you can register for Silly Hacks and you can do silly things. You can make silly physics. You can make silly universes. The floor is all yours, and we were happy to have you guys. That's all for today.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.